Shalom, 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 lakam, which is peace unto you all. Adopting Baha'i Bar with the Hebrew Israelites coming to you week in and week out through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah, to preach you so called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, West Indians, Haitians, and Israelite foreigners. Nachamatam, Kaya, Ha Malaka, Hashamayim, Kwara, repent ye for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. First and foremost, before we get started, we go ahead and say, Kah Halayim La, Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shah Bahasham, Hakodash. A double honor to those in the apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth and rule well. Much respect to you bros out there pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom.
Shalom.
So essentially, we're going to get into another edition of Hadabar Shah Hayawan, which is the word of the day. And the word of the day is going to be Azan, which is the ear. All right. And we got Proverbs Mashoya, chapter 11 and verse 1. It says, a false balance is abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight, you see. So pretty much things have to be in balance, you know. And when you look at your ears, you actually get balance physically, all right, through the ears. Baba Kushak, could we get that word for balance? Yabashim Shabrakata.
Talking about the Merriam-Webster.
It's in the interlinear, the blue letter.
Oh, con. Salaki.
Yep. And it says Ma'azanyam, and it says balance. It says from root word etymology azan. Could we click on that word, Baba Kushak?
Con.
It says weigh, test, prove, consider. You know, going back to I believe it's Job. Can we get Job 34 and verse 3? We'll come back to this. But it says to weigh, i.e., figuratively, to ponder, give good heed.
Job 34 and 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
It says, "For the ears trieth words, as the mouth tasteth meat."
All right, pretty much going into the senses or the parts. You know, in Bon Sirach chapter 17 talks about how the Lord, you know, imparted speech. You know, and the pretty much going into the senses. You know, but when you go into the word ear, it says trieth words. Baba Kushak, could we get their word for try, and then also after that we get the word for ear. Bachan, yep. We're going to the interlinear, the lexicon. Yeah, right there. And it says to search out, to examine, to try, to prove, which the ears do that. And then it says to look out, to watch. You know, so your eyes watch to see your surroundings, but your ears, they got 360. You got 180 on this side, and then 180 on this side. So they're constantly looking out. They're always watching. You know, to examine the words that are being spoken. You know, different sounds. You know, that's why they have a saying. You know, like in the military. You know, like through research, essentially. You know, it's called SEALs. You know, I believe it's to stop, look, listen, and smell. You know, pretty much using the senses. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So can we go back to the word for ear, Baba Kusha?
Con.
And it says azan. You keep going, and it says the ear as part of the body, ear as organ of hearing. It says to uncover the ear to reveal the receiver of divine revelation. You know, because when you go into I believe it's Job 33 and 16. You know, the Lord seals the instructions of man. Could we get that, Baba Kusha, real fast?
Job 33 and 16, you said?
Yep.
This is the book of Job 33 and verse 16, and it reads, "Then he openeth the ears of men, and sealeth their instruction."
Mm-hmm. So pretty much that's when essentially, you know, the Lord puts the scriptures say that the way of man, roughly paraphrasing, is in the Lord's hands. You know, pretty much the Lord, the man's goings are of the Lord. You know,
Mm-hmm.
essentially the Lord controls that. You know, and one way He does is by sealing the instructions. You know, when man is in deep sleep. You know, that's why it says, verse 15, in a dream, in the vision of the night, when deep sleep falleth upon men, and slumberings upon the bed, then he openeth the ears of men and sealeth their instruction. You know, which we got articles, you know, pretty much going into that. But Baba Kushal, could we get the breakdown of the word azan? You can go to it's at ancienthebrew.org.
Con.
Yeah, but I got that precept. Mashoya, Proverbs 20 and 24 says, "Man's goings are of the Lord. How can a man then understand his own way?" Because the Lord essentially puts the instruction of man, like we got in Job 33, in his ear, into the brain, because the scripture saying Proverbs 4 and 23, out of the issues or the brain is essentially, or the heart, lab, Baha Lashwan Kwadash or Lashon Kwadash, essentially that's where the issues of life come from, is from the brain. You'll scroll down to probably about two more lines.
Con.
And it'll be the next one.
Okay, con.
Right there. It says Zan, which Azan is a derivative of Zan, and it says balance whoredom, which whoredom actually comes from Zan, you see, because the Za is a weapon or a tool, you see. It can be a matic or can be a hoe, like when you're farming, you use a hoe or a matic, and essentially in the ancient world, female harlots would be paid by food. What do you harvest? What do you harvest food with, a hoe or a matic? So that term actually derives from the scriptures. Calling a female prostitute a hoe. Because essentially, female prostitutes would be paid by food. That's why it says one of the many agricultural tools was a hoe or matic. The implement had a wide blade for cutting plant stalks at the roots. The crops were harvested for a supply of foods, which were stored in jars. Ancient Hebrew. The pictograph Zah is a picture of the agricultural cutting implement, such as an matic or hoe. The Na is a picture of a seed. Combined, these mean matic of the seed. We scroll down and it says kind, diverse, which is on all manners of store. It says as paid with food. Zanan. It says Zanawan. It says prostitution, the act of or process of engaging in sexual intercourse for profit. And that's why essentially, females that engage into prostitution are called hoes, you see, because they're paid with some type of food. Nowadays that food will be the bread, the money, so money will be likened to food, and that's essentially the scriptures say that there's no new thing under the sun, so one thing can be ascribed to how it was in the ancient world, and that's how essentially how it is today. But it says azan. It says the broad ear for picking up sounds, and when you think about broad is a shape. All right, and it says give an ear to pay attention to a voice or sound, to hear the thoughtful attention and obedience. It says give ear, hearken, hear, gave good heed, and it says weapon. It says a broad, sharp blade like a matic, and it says awazan or azan, and it says the organ of hearing, so named from its broad shape, ear, audience, hearing. You see, could we go to the breakdown of that word, Baba Kosha?
What word, Salakia?
It's all good, but when you go into the word azan, top of the page, it says can you scroll up a little bit?
Oh, con.
Scroll down a little bit. Right there, it says azan, the broad ear for picking up sounds. Azan, which the ah goes into strength, the za goes into zayan, which is a weapon or a tool. The na, that's just a seed, So when you go into that word, it's a strong weapon or a tool for seeds. And when you go into that word for seed, Baba Kosha, could we get the it was the Merriam-Webster Merriam-Webster link?
Con.
Yep. You scroll down. Keep going. Should be 2 of 2 or 3 of right there. It says seed inoculate, and it says you click on the word inoculate.
Con.
And it says to introduce a microorganism into. You keep going. It says to introduce into the mind of. So a seed, a seed can be likened to something that's placed into the mind, you know, whether
Mm-hmm.
that's negative or whether it's positive, So going into Azan, A is strength, Zayan is weapon, Na is non, which is a seed. So a strong weapon for tool, or so like a strong weapon or tool for seeds, inoculation, essentially going into, if you say something to a crowd, essentially they going to take that in because they're hearing it through the vibration of the eardrums. That's why the scriptures say to have your speech seasoned with salt, and essentially Proverbs, Mashoya, chapter 18 and verse 20 to 21, life and death is in the power of the tongue, roughly paraphrasing. So you have to watch, the words that come out of the mouth, because it's not going onto deaf ears, because
Mm-hmm.
the ears, they act as organs, essentially to for the brain to process what was said. That's why it's called an ear drum. You see, because what do you do on a drum? You slap on a drum, but the drum has a vibration. That's what gives off the sound. So those vibrations are going into the ear, which in process is it's electrical pulses that go into the brain to where it's processed. You know, and from that, one would learn, from the said words, and that's how words have power. Because
Mm-hmm.
it opens up different experiences with that specific word. I'm gonna read this though. This is this is Colossians chapter 4 and verse 5. It says, "Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time." Because pretty much, you have to use words of wisdom. And then going back to having your speech seasoned with salt. Verse 6, it says, "Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, that ye may know how Salah, that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man," which Jake is the salt of the earth. But how does Jake have that flavor? Yahweh Shah. And what is Yahweh Shah? He's the word. So the scriptures, essentially tell us how to talk. So we have to use wisdom in our speech, to whether we have to get out of a situation or whether we have to just speak in wisdom. All the words that we speak should be coming from the scriptures. Whether it's some, the scriptures say to walk with wisdom towards those that are without. So what you're saying is coming from the scriptures. You see, it may not be a direct quote. It might be a paraphrase. But
Mm-hmm.
from there, could we get could you go to the article, Baba Kushab? Yep. And it says ears. It says the ears are organs of hearing and balance. When you talk about balance, if a fighter was to like get punched in the ear, they'd be thrown off equilibrium. You seen that with Deontay Wilder. He got punched in his ear. And he pretty much got knocked out after that. But it says sound waves are picked up by the ear, converted into electrical impulses, and sent to the brain where they are processed. You keep going. You keep going. It says how ears hear. It says sound waves are vibrations through the air. When we hear a sound such as somebody's voice, sound travels along the ear canal and causes the eardrum to vibrate. And when you say, okay, oh, his words have heavy vibration, that's essentially, each word comes with a specific vibration, which it has. When the scripture said, Bron Sirach, 1 and 1, they have not the same force in them. Like when you say it in Hebrew, it has a stronger vibration. You see, but even
Mm-hmm.
in English, if you choose to intentionally use the highest vibration words, essentially your body's going to be affected by that. Because when you're talking, you got vocal cords for a reason. Because your vocal cords, when you're talking, the words that you choose, essentially, the scriptures say life and death is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So you're going to feel that throughout your body. So by choosing to use high vibrational words, it's going to have an effect on your body. But it says the vibration of the eardrum causes movement of the three bones in the middle ear. These bones move against the cochleae, the hearing organ, and pass the vibration to thousands of special hairs inside it. The hair cells then send the sound as an electrical signal along the nerve to the brain, where we perceive the sound. Our brains, our brain interprets the signal as sound. You see, so essentially going back to Job 34 and 3, it said that does not the ear try words as the mouth tastes meat? You know, because essentially the Lord is not the author of confusion. You know, everything is done decently and in order. You see, so you taste with your mouth, you talk with your tongue, and you hear with your ears. You know,
Mhm.
that's why we have to be cognizant and mindful of the things that we are listening to, whether it be while you're awake, but then even while you're sleeping. You know, could you scroll down a little bit?
Con.
And it says ears in balance. It says our sense of balance is controlled by signals to the brain from these sensory systems going into your vision. But first, it has the vestibular system, inner ear. All right, then it says vision, and then pro how do you say that word? Movement sensors in the skin, muscles, and joints. You know, so I'm gonna get a let me see. It says common ear problems. That's pretty much the point. Can we go
Con.
to get the other article after that one?
Mm.
Could you get real quick?
Slovakia.
Could you get Proverbs 13:3? Baba Kusha?
Con. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 13 and verse 3. It says, He
You
that
can start
keepeth
verse
his
two.
mouth. Con. Verse 2, it says, A man shall eat by the fruit of his mouth.
You're
But
gonna eat. You're gonna be filled with when you eat. You know the scriptures say you shouldn't be insatiable. You know, so
Mhm.
you're gonna be filled. You know, it says a man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth. You know, so you're gonna be filled with good by the fruit of your mouth, whatever your mouth produces, with the words that you use, but
Mhm.
it says, but the soul of transgressors shall eat violence. Verse 3, he that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life, but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. And scripture say to essentially, it says, Bon Sirach 28, hedge of possession, with a bar in the gate. And then also it says to, essentially the scriptures get into it says to pretty much be mindful of the words that you speak. You know,
Mhm. May I get something for you real quick?
kind
This is the book of Matthew 15 and verse 11. It says, I'm just going to get to the point. It says, Not that which goeth into the mouth defileth a man, but that which cometh out of the mouth, this defileth a man. So you got, like the brother said, you got to watch what you say, the words that you speak, because it can condemn you.
Mm-hmm.
You can set yourself into a trap. You can pretty much, like I said, just pretty much condemn yourself just by the words that you speak. You're speaking rash, you're speaking harsh words to somebody. You're
Mm-hmm.
liable to get, your ass whooped, get killed, or get rebuked. You know,
Right.
you got it,
Could you get a Proverbs 6:2 just to land back off your point?
Khan. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 2. It says, Thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Thou art taken with the words of thy mouth.
Right. It says thou art snared with the words of thy mouth. Going into Proverbs 18:21, it says death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So you're gonna be. Could you get the word for snare, Baba Kusha?
Khan.
It says Yakwash. You scroll down. It says lure, snare. It says set a trap. It says to be ensnared, be caught by bait. You keep going and go to the lexicon, Baba Kusha.
That's pretty much all of it right here.
So it says metaphorically to be snared. All right. So essentially, that's what you're gonna have to live with. That's gonna be on you.
Mhm.
Essentially, it said thou art snared, which essentially that's going into being a surety. You see, because if you're a surety, you want to keep your word. You see, but then also going into your word. All right. You want to again you want to keep your word. But if you do say something, essentially you're gonna be trapped in whatever you said. Whether that's good or whether that's bad.
Mhm.
So, Baba Kushak, could we go back to the other one, the other article, if you didn't have anything?
Khan.
It
Talking
says
about this
your
one, right?
brain is con.
Okay.
It says your brain is paying attention while you're sleeping. Going back to it was Job Ayawab 33 and verse 16. So again, that's why we have to be cognizant of the stuff that we're listening to, right before you sleep. Because just going into an example, a lot of times, we may listen to videos, while we're sleeping, but a lot of times Esau understand that, he understands that. So after you done listening to your video, he'll put like TD snakes or like Creflo Dollar or something like that, because he understands when you're sleeping, your unconscious mind or your subconscious mind is still listening,
Mm-hmm. That's right. It says right here, even if you don't remember, your brain is listening.
Mm-hmm.
So that thing, whatever information is being poured out, your brain is recording that in the back of your
Right.
mind.
Right. And even with Esau's entertainment industry,
Mm-hmm.
TV, he put different things. Like we saw the song, The Glamorous,
Mm-hmm.
like he put different stuff into the songs. He might put like even with the 808, like he put little examples or little sounds in there to make you feel a certain kind of way, to evoke certain emotions.
Right.
So you got to be cognizant of music you listen to. What you watch on TV, who you're around, things like that. You want to be old righteous,
Mm-hmm.
but just being cognizant, being more intentional, what really help in self development, in this truth,
Right. Because pretty much food, or like in Spanish is comida. Pretty much like it's pretty much what you eat. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and damn. So like it was a point I wanted to get, but pretty much what I wanted to say was uh information is also something that you ingest, that
Right.
you take in. So you also got to be cognizant of what you eat, not just physically, but also mentally. You got
Mm-hmm.
to be cognizant of that, because that can really damage you mentally if you're listening to a bunch of garbage, a bunch of Sexy Red and all this nonsense. You see
Right.
what happens, whenever Jake listens to a lot of this shit. Man, Jake is very impressionable, so you start adopting and taking on those characteristics of whatever is playing in that song.
Right. And it says a comment. It says quote. It says food for thought. Everything you can
Mm,
sense from the senses essentially goes back to the mind. You touch something, you come in quick understanding of it. If you smell something, you put your nose in the direction of something. Essentially,
mhm.
you come in quick understanding. What is that? What does the understanding go to? It goes to your brain. That's why the scriptures say, Proverbs 4:23. It says, "Life and death." Or it's like life is or could you get it real fast? I don't want to butcher it.
Con.
Proverbs 4:23.
Con. Let me get it real quick. Proverbs chapter 4 and verse 23 is, wait, 23?
Mm-hmm. It says, "Keep thy heart with all
Okay.
diligence, for out of it are the issues of life." Because
Hmm.
essentially, from what's in your mind, that's what's going to play out, in your day to day. So from your senses, from your touch, that gives your brain, all right, certain understanding. From smell, gives you understanding. All right, what did I just smell? Okay. From what you hear, if you're talking to somebody, you register. Your brain gives your ears give your brain certain electrical charges from those different vibrational words given to the ear, and then you can register in your mind. So it's important to keep. It says keep your heart. Your heart is la. In Hebrew. So you got to be mindful of the things that you're around, your surroundings.
Hmm.
So go. So can we go back to the
Oh,
article?
Salaki.
Okay, sure. Did you have something?
I was looking up something, but you got it, Doc.
Okay. It says scientists have classically described sleep as a state of isolation. Your brain shuts down and no longer receives information from the outside world. But this description doesn't always match with common everyday observations about sleep, says Thomas Adrillin, a research fellow at Monash University in Australia. If our senses are shut off, how do we wake up at the right moments to to the right sensory intrusions. It it's been reported that people can wake up when something important happens in their environment. Again, being mindful of your environment. It says people are more likely to wake up in relevant sounds. Drilling says like someone saying their name or the sound of someone's baby crying compared to louder, more irrelevant sounds, So you might wake up to your phone alarm, but then it says people are more likely to wake up to relevant sounds. So like it says it's been reported that people can wake up when something important happens in their environment. But then going back to the precept, essentially if you hear something in your sleep, your mind can you go back up to the title, Baba Kushak?
God.
It says your brain is paying attention while you're sleeping. Your brain, going back to Mashoya, Proverbs 33:16. The Lord sealeth the instructions of man. You see, because it's going, you hear it. Then it's going into your brain.
Mm-hmm. We go back down.
That was pretty much the point. Could you get the other article?
God. So like this thing is tripping. What the hell is this?
Yeah, it's trippy.
Yeah.
Are you able to get it on the whole screen?
Let me see. Okay, there we go.
Okay.
It's kind of smaller text, but
Okay.
want me to read it?
Yeah, you go ahead.
Where you want me to start at? Right here at the beginning?
Yeah, you can read the first paragraph and then skip down to the paragraph after the three main parts of the ear, how we hear. Read the first one and the third one.
God. It says how your ears work. How your ears work is a complicated process. We believe that education is the key to helping you understand how to best care for your ears. So here is a proper explanation of how your ears work. Hearing is a function of your brain. The process of hearing actually takes place in the brain, not the ears.
So what they mean by that is essentially going back to that broad shape. You got on both sides of your head, you got two ears, and essentially the ear. A lot of times you want to hear something. They make the megaphone like the shape of the ear because that's how that you want somebody to hear it. That's how your ear is shaped. So this right how it's shaped. You take in the sound. It's made almost like a funnel to where it funnels into the brain. So ears do play a part in hearing, but then like the sound is processed in the ear canal because the drums essentially vibrate, and that vibration creates an electrical charge that goes into the brain.
Mm-hmm. I want to show you a picture real quick of this right here.
Yep. See, because like dude, it has it pretty much how Esau works. The scriptures say, the heart is deep. So Esau studies animals. He studies nature, because in order to get how he flies, he got it from gooses. Gooses, you'll see them. They fly into the like a pond. They kind of like they majestically glide, and then they softly land. So he got that from the goose for planes. So in order to hear, he'll make something in the shape of an ear. That's how the ear and in metaphorical terms, that's how it's shaped. It's in a broad shape and then it goes smaller. Because if you go from big to small, it focuses in into where it gets to where it actually wants to go, and that's why the smaller point reaches into the ear canal and then it goes into the brain.
Right.
That's why a lot of times people will be like, somebody will yell, they'll be like, hold on, what you say? And they'll do this. They pretty much point it in the form of the ear, pretty much making like almost like a scoop.
Right. This guy right here.
Yep. You go back to
It says how we hear. How we hear is a complicated and intricate process that shows how wondrous and amazing the human body is. Sounds send vibrations or sound waves into the air. Our ears are designed to funnel these sounds through the three main parts of our ears. The funneled sounds make their way to strike the eardrum and cause it to vibrate. Those vibrations are passed through the bones in the middle ear. Hey, that's heavy because I remember at this one job I worked at, they gave us these like headphones that like send vibrations through to your ear. from your ear to pretty much you can hear the sound of the music that you're playing,
Mm-hmm.
or like the sound of commands whenever you're picking orders, and
Right.
it's just vibrations.
Right.
But it says the bones. It's called what's it called? That headphone. It's like a bone conductor, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
But it says the bones transmit them to the coachella in the inner ear. The fluid inside the tubes of the coachella and the tiny hair cells convert the vibration to nerve impulses, which are sent to the brain through the hearing nerve. The brain then interprets the impulses into sounds. Yo,
Right.
this sounds heavy.
So, right, like, cause Esau trying to make it as if, oh, we just fucking hearing. Like, I mean, obviously, yeah, we're hearing. You see, basically what I say, but what I mean when I say that is like Esau tries to simplify it and put
Mm,
it in, because the scriptures say that thou art near in their mouth but far from their reins, because they try to put it in a sense of, okay, like how he does with the animals. He'll try to put it in a sense of, okay, well, animals just do this, like dogs bark and they do this and that, but really not. The Lord when you go into the scriptures and how the Lord created the earth, the
hmm
Lord created it and it was good.
hmm
That was good. Wasn't a roughly paraphrasing. Good wasn't a just a word. No, it was good.
hmm
It was fit for its purpose. So the Lord created everything fit for the purpose. It was magnificent.
Right.
It was good for its purpose.
It
It
was
wasn't like
essentially
huh?
oh, so like I was just gonna say it was essentially perfect in the eyes of the Lord.
Yeah, it wasn't fit. It wasn't just halfway done.
Hmm
Like a lot of times Esau put out half truths. No, it was fit for the purpose. It was fit for the job.
Right. Want to continue on right here?
Kind of just read the top and then go into the purple and yeah.
Okay, kind. It says hearing and your brain. It says now you see the brain processes the sounds our ears hear. Our ears translate the sounds and send them to the brain for processing. Here are the three areas of the
So
brain that
like,
interprets.
and
Like,
if I can mention too, it says for processing, because when you hear somebody talk, it's not
mhm,
like, okay, sometimes you got to think about what someone says, but when you hear words, it's like it's instantaneous. Like you hear somebody say a word. Going back to Bon Sirach, could you get Bon Sirach 17 Bible
mhm.
shot and go to verse 5, the point?
Bounce Rock 17 and verse 4 it says, and put the fear of man upon all flesh and give him dominion over beasts and fowls.
Verse 5.
Verse 5, Salakia. It says, they receive the use of the five operations from the Lord. In the sixth place, he imparted them understanding. And in the seventh, an interpreter of the cogitations thereof.
Uh-huh. Right. So in the seventh, an interpreter of speech of the cogitations thereof. So when you talk, when you speak, essentially those things that are coming forth from someone else's voice, you can actually process what they're saying. Is sometimes you got to think about what someone says, pretty much going into the process of the brain. But them words that they speaking, you can almost instantaneously understand what they're saying. That goes into the
Mhm.
the creation of the Lord. You can almost you damn near instantly, or not damn near, but you instantly understand what they're saying. You just
Mhm.
gotta pay attention to what they're saying, and then you speak.
Right, right. When we go back to the article,
Con Baba Shaw.
so it says, our ears translate the sounds and send them to the brain for processing. Here are the three areas of your brain that interpret sound and produce speech through your auditory system.
So it's a whole system,
Hmm
which your thoughts that go into your mouth, and then when somebody else speaks to you, you get them through the vibration. They have they have heavy vibrational words. It vibrates in your eardrum, and then you think about what they said, and then you say what you got to say to them, you know.
hmm
But from there, could we get? I think I sent you another article as well, or it might be a definition or something.
Yes, another article. This pretty much two more articles.
Kind. I didn't want to read the whole thing. I just wanted to go into uh, a couple key points.
Con. This one right here.
Kind. It says air. It says air source. Air source energy is a type of energy present in nature, renewable and free. Air source energy is defined as energy stored in the form of heat in the air. This is possible because thermal energy can be extracted from the air around us, and for this, we need an air source heat pump. But the point I want to get out of this was essentially air is an energy source. So the scriptures say that life and death is in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. So could you get Job 12:10, Baba Kusha?
Con. This is the book of Job, chapter 12 and verse 10, and it reads, "In whose hand is the soul of every living thing and the breath of all mankind?"
Right. In whose hand the Lord is in control of every living thing, and the breath of all mankind, So the Lord is the one that gives the breath, So the breath actually comes from the spirit of the Lord, So if you're using the breath, because when people are short of breath, essentially it's hard for them to talk, So like if you're full of breath, that came from the Lord. So you saying different words, all right, you're using energy from the spirit, to either say positive words or negative words, So you're going to be rewarded for that,
Right.
And it behooves us, to continue to speak those good words, Yahweh Shah, but for the wicked, it's a couple precepts to go into it. The mouth of the wicked is his destruction, so they're going to be snared in their words, you see.
That's right.
But could you go to the other article if you didn't have nothing?
Con. Right here.
Yep. You read the purple and then we'll go down.
All right, Con. It says, the experienced Green Beret team leader took a knee in the silence. He turned his internal spider sense receptors on full power. Stop, look, listen, and smell. It says seals, right? That's
Yeah,
what it's called.
they call it seals.
Con. It says we all imitated and continue to do so every few hundred meters. We secretly hope to be the first to detect the enemy.
Right, because when you go into coming up, Esau said, okay, well, you need to go to college. Say you need to go and be a productive member of society. So we felt as if, okay, well, this, without this truth, the water Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah, he's given us the eyes to see and ears to hear. You see, but those that at one time, essentially, we was without this truth. You see, so going back to, I guess, what you would call the basis level of understanding. You got your touch, you got your eyes, you got your ears, you got the taste. All those are they are simple, but they are like very intricate, as we just got the information from the ear, and that was just the ear, because again, going back to creation, when the Lord created something, hey, it was good.
Con, and I got something to add too. Whenever someone tells you, like, just be alert, right? It's a saying in the world, put your ear to the ground, right? Pretty much be on alert. And as you brought up that definition for ear, it means what? Be watchful, right? Be watchful, be alert, right? And I just got this real quick. I just typed in "put your ear to the ground." It says to pay attention to everything that is happening around you and to what people are saying. So that's pretty much the point. Pretty much be circumspect.
Okay.
You got it, Doc.
God says to pay attention to everything that is happening around you and to what people are saying. It says around you. Pretty much one side of your ear, one side of your head has 180, the other side has the other 180. That's around. That's 360. And it says to what people are saying. Because this is a world. The scriptures say that the earth was given into the hand of the wicked, and how he runs his society. He runs it in a world of symbols and words, which scriptures also go into. Says that redeeming the time because the days are evil. Be circumspect. So we gotta stay prayed up, and be circumspect. 360. 360 with our physical ears, but then 360 with the spiritual ears. Staying because your ears help you to understand. So staying in the scriptures, abiding in the Lord. Listening to what the Lord is saying.
Right. Let me go back. You still wanted this?
Con, you scroll down just a little bit.
Con.
It says, respect the gap. You keep going. Use them proportionally. It says we do not, or we don't learn with our mouths, because you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You're supposed to do more listening. It says we don't assess our surroundings with our mouths. Our mouths do not make decisions. Supervision doesn't come from the mouth. Use your other senses proportionally more than your mouth. For every room you walk into, and during every mission you plan, walk, drive, or fly, assess your surroundings and uncover the unknown. Stop, look, listen, and smell. You keep going. Right there. I'll go back up slightly. Right there, it says, similarly, receive before you transmit. Similarly, masterful senior leaders are highly tuned receptors proportionally so they can better understand their people, their mission, and their enemy. Ultimately, through use of their receptors, they become more effective motivators, leaders, and winners of battles just by using the senses.
Mm-hmm.
So from there, could we get, I believe it was another article, and I think I had a definition, and that was it.
I think that was all for the articles.
That was it. I want to read this
Yeah.
quote, though. It says, never miss an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. You learn a lot. You experience a lot. By being observant, you essentially gain a lot more than actually output. That's why scriptures say that. It says, he that keepeth his mouth, keepeth himself from destruction, roughly paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
Or he that keepeth his mouth, keepeth his soul, roughly paraphrasing.
Right.
But that was all for the articles and the definitions.
Yeah, Con.
Yeah, that was pretty much all I had. Well, no, I got some precepts. Could we get let me see, Jeremiah 36 and 6 to 15, and then 2 Timothy 4 and 3, and that's all.
Con. This is Jeremiah 36 and verse 6. It reads, therefore go thou and read in the roll which thou hast written from my mouth the words of Yahweh in the ears of the people of Yahweh's house upon the fasting day. And also thou shalt read them in the ears of all Judah that come out of their cities.
All right, because when you want someone to understand something, going back to the definition of ear, it says azan. It says strong weapon tool for seeds. When you want someone to understand something, Jake is hard-headed. So like we have to continually be reminded. Repetition. Repetition is the father of skill, as the apostles say. So keep repeating it, because when you keep repeating it, it gets into the brain.
Right.
You could skip down to skip down to 10, I believe.
10. Con.
Okay.
Jeremiah 36 and verse 10, it says, then read Baruch in the book of the words, Slakia. Then read Baruch in the book of the words of Jeremiah in the house of Yahweh, in the chamber of Gemariah, the son of Shaphan, the scribe, in the higher court at the entry of the new gate of Yahweh's house, in the ears of all the people.
Mm-hmm.
Then Micaiah, the son of Gemariah, the son of Shaphan, had heard out of the book all the words of Yahweh.
Right. Faith cometh by hearing.
Right.
Hearing by the words of the Lord, roughly paraphrasing.
Mm-hmm.
You skip down to 13 and then go to 15.
Verse 13, it says, then Micaiah declared unto them all the words that he had heard when Baruch read the book in the ears of the people.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, skip down 15.
Yeah, you can read from 14 to 15.
Okay, Khan. It says, therefore, all the princes sent Jehudai, the son of Nathani, the son of Shelemiah, the son of Cushai, unto Baruch, saying, take in thine hand the roll wherein thou hast read in the ears of the people, and come. So Baruch, the son of Neriah, took the roll in his hand and came unto them. And they said unto him, sit down now and read it in our ears. So Baruch read it in their ears.
Right. It says, sit down now and read it in our ears. So they essentially like with the understanding of, okay, well, if you're saying that, you're essentially saying, all right, well, we want to understand it, so say it in our ears. So it
Right.
says Baruch read it in their ears, so by reading something in someone's ears, essentially that's a way to get it into the mind, because it plants seeds of righteousness, which them seeds, if opened up, could you get that, Baba Kusha? If opened up by the Lord, essentially that's going to spread forth to, repentance, joy, doing the correct things in the spirit. I think it's the scripture says, I have planted Apollo's waters or something.
God, 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 6. It says, 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 6, I have planted, Apollos watered, but the Most High gave the increase.
Right? Could you get an NLT?
Oh, yeah, God. 1 Corinthians 3 and verse 6 in the NLT, it reads, I planted a seed in your hearts.
Mm-hmm. In which it says, I planted the seed in your hearts.
Mm-hmm.
Lob shall come, heart, the heart. So like your hearts, pretty much going the seed in the heart, It says, and Apollo's water it, but the Most High who made it grow, because those seeds are essentially planted in the mind, Lob shall come, your mind, but the Lord is the one that makes it grow,
Mm-hmm. May I get this for you real quick? I know you quoted it. I just feel like reading it.
Okay.
This is Romans 10, and I'm gonna start at 16. It says, but they have not all obeyed the gospel. For Isaiah saith, Lord, who hath believed our report? So then faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the words of the Most High.
Mm-hmm. It says, but they have not all obeyed the gospel. Gospel goes into good news. Not everybody obeyed the good news, you see, because going back to what King David said, let what should have been for their good, let it be a snare.
Mm-hmm.
I believe Yahweh shall also pray for that as well. But it says,
Right.
for it saith, Lord, who hath believed our report? A report is words, So then faith cometh by hearing, with your ears. Ha'azanyam, the ears. And it says, so faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of the Most High. So ultimately, one will receive the gift of faith through the Spirit given by the Lord Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah, by hearing of the word through the ears, because then that seed is planted into the mind, halab, the heart, the brain, the mind. Yeah, that's pretty much all I had, bro.
I had a quick one.
Kyle, you go ahead.
Let me see. This is 1 Corinthians 14 and verse 7. Just going into how it's important to pretty much play the right tune. Is it 1 Corinthians?
Might be second. You talking about the one where it goes, it says, how shall they, be prepared for battle? It's right there. I think it's verse 7.
Oh, yeah. Salakia. Oh, I have it in NLT. That's why it was tripping me up. This is 1 Corinthians 14 and verse 7. It says, and even things without life giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sounds, how shall it be known what is pipe or harp?
Right, and it says, and even things without life-giving sound, whether pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sounds. Going back to the scripture, it says, he that hath an ear, let him hear. Everybody don't have ears. Everybody got ears, but everybody don't got ears. Pretty much going back to the spirit, The scriptures say that the Lord speaks in parables, dark sayings, similitudes. It says, except they give a distinction. What does your ears do? It gives a distinction, whether it's a word or a sound. All right. And essentially those that have the spirit, could you get a precept real fast? Could you get Malachi 3 and 18, Baba Kusha?
Khan. This is the book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 18, and it reads, then shall ye return and discern between the righteous and the wicked, between him that serveth the Most High and him that serveth him not.
Right. So then shall ye return, shawab, and discern, distinguish. Same thing, distinction, discern between the righteous and the wicked, So ultimately it goes back to the spirit. Could you go back to the precept you just had?
Con.
I think it was 1 Corinthians.
Yeah. Want me to read verse 8?
Oh yeah, I'll read verse 7 again. It says,
Okay.
and even things without the giving, so like, even things without the life-giving sound, where the pipe or harp, except they give a distinction in the sounds, how shall it be known what is piped or harped? For if the trumpet give an uncertain sound, who shall prepare himself to the battle? So you got false prophets that's giving, they're not giving the true sound, but the elect have the spirit to be able to discern, to distinguish those specific sounds, because this is a new song, a lot. And when you go into literal, what do you call them, conductors or music conductors, or what do you call them with the
pretty much producers or conductors, I guess you could say.
a conductor, so pretty much, if he hear a sound that's off, he like, nah, like that's not it, in this in the scripts, the Lord will be the conductor, so if something is off, it's like, nah, like essentially we've been given the mind of Yahweh Shai, so essentially the elect, Lord's willing, that's us, but the elect can sense it, like, nah, like, they might have 99.95% of the truth, but that little sound, that little distinction, that deer whistle, so to speak, is like, nah, that's off, so
Right.
ultimately the sound can be picked up in the spirit, and if you have the spirit, you have the ears. Everybody got ears, but you got to have the ears to hear in the spirit,
Right. And I got another one for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is the book of John 10. I'm gonna start at verse 25. It
Mm-hmm.
says, Yahweh shall answer them. I told you, and ye believe not. The works that I do in my Father's name, they bear witness of me. But ye believe not, because ye are not of my sheep. As I said unto you, my sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. So just going backing up what the brother said. Hey, the elect, they're gonna hear the truth, and it's gonna ring a bell to them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be like, oh dang, they did it says in the scriptures that you shall hear a word behind you
Right.
telling you this is the way, walk ye in it. Pretty much
Mm-hmm.
the elect are gonna hear that voice. It's gonna resonate with them. But with
Right.
2/3, like it says, because you are not of my sheep, hey, they 2/3 can't get it because they're not part of the Lord's sheep. They're not part of the elect. They can't
Mm-hmm.
hear it. They're what's that word? Damn. When somebody can't sing, what they call it? Tone deaf?
Tone
Something like
deaf. Yeah,
that. Yeah.
tone deaf.
That's pretty much 2/3. They're tone deaf. They can't hear it. They can't get it. I
Con.
got it out.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I had. You ain't had nothing.
Yeah, that was it.
Conway, Adawan Tazaza Banaya Pablo was does a beautiful edification through the spirit. While Adawan Taza Atam Yashlai La Tawab, a Lord's will, you all have a good night. While we can go ahead and close it up by saying, Call Layim La Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shah Bahasham Kha Kodash. A double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us his truth and rule well. And much respect to you bros out there pushing the truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Shalom, shalom. Halayla
Shalom.
Tawab, shalom.
Shalom.